This is Nothing About Soccer and All About Football. Chris Kim, Chris Wanda, and Liam show, broadcasting in a new location. We may have a special guest analyzer, we may not tonight. The show is the review of the round of 16, quick predictions on the quarters, and just I'm going to start off with a salute to the United States team. Pretty much it's apparent that the United States still doesn't have the players. The only world-class player who appeared was Howard. U.S. has put out world-class goalies since the 90s with Tony Miolo, Kelsey Keller, Brad Friedel, Brian Guzan, and of course Tim Howard. A few others who've also played international ball, and that's what we specialize in. Dempsey, with the loss of Josie Altidore, Dempsey having to play up front, obviously took him out of where his power game was, of being kind of a quarterback of that team that fell more to Michael Bradley, and that's not Michael Bradley's game. Michael Bradley's a very good defensive midfielder. Unfortunately, is him trying to be a quarterback, trying to hit that pass, linking him to the front striker and Dempsey or Fabio Johnson or Yentlin. There were just too many missed passes on his part, but it pretty much was one world-class player against the Belgians, and that was almost enough to win. But again, everybody's reported it. The United States does it with grit and determination, but they went, I believe, farther than they were actually capable of, and I believe that's the coaching of Jurgen Klinsmann. He was blunt. He said he did not think the United States was ready to win the World Cup. He doesn't believe, because the players do not play twice a week as the international stars of the Premier League, La Liga, Italy, South America, the rest of the world play twice a week. Champions League, their Premier Leagues, and they therefore have skills that are just beyond what we are. And if the U.S. had won that game, it would have been more of a fluke than deserved. It wasn't because of hard work. It was just we were outclassed up and down the line, except for Tim Howard. So it was a good run. I'm hoping that as Klinsmann starts pushing us and basically saying we have to take it seriously, we lose, we move on. That's not the way it is across the world. They actually take it personally, and until you get to that level of hating losing, we're not going to get there. But it's a good sign. We have the capabilities as more people become more interested. Again, I'm hoping 4 years down the road that we make a better showing, and who knows, surprise the world. So let's go back through the round of 16. Again, I don't use many notes. My predictions were half great, half terrible. Let's start with the half terrible. Brazil-Chile. The two games I didn't see: Brazil-Chile and Uruguay-Colombia. So I don't know why, I don't know how, but I do know I picked Chile in an upset off Brazil because I didn't feel the Brazilians were playing all that well. It did go to penalty kicks, but 90,000 strong or 100,000 strong in a stadium in a country behind you was enough to get Brazil through. We'll see. I didn't see the game, so it's hard for me to comment. I have not heard anybody tell me that they played extremely well, but it was enough to get past Chile, and Chile was a quality team, so Brazil moves on. Uruguay-Colombia, I picked Uruguay because I felt that the group they came out of, even with the loss of Suarez, for this game, they may be the better dog in the fight. From the analysis of Wanda, Colombia is a very good team, and they're for real. And I guess James Martinez is their big gun. So with the loss of Falcao, he stepped up The whole team has stepped up, and they handled Uruguay, from what I understand, quite easily. Suarez, we knew, was going to be a big loss for them, but I felt that they would play a very steady game, and with Cavani, and I predicted Forlan actually come up big. From what I understand, he didn't. So that was what I would say, half terrible, half somewhat correct on the Chileans giving Brazil a good game. Next two games. Costa Rica, Greece. I picked Costa Rica, but I also said that Greece is a funny team and can do funny things, and even won a Euro back in, I believe, 2004. They pushed this game to the limit, going to penalty kicks. Costa Rica did what they had to do in penalty kicks, making all 5, and it was a difference of 1 stop. That's all you need in penalty kicks. And Costa Rica came through. Greece, they frustrated them. They played a very steady game. They didn't let Costa Rica break it open, and again came very close to winning this game. But Greece has had trouble scoring, and that hurt them in the end. So Costa Rica moved on. Mexico, Netherlands. A very fun game. Netherlands definitely looked like the heat took more toll on them than Mexico, as Mexico plays in that type of hot, humid weather. It was very hard conditions. First half scoreless. Mexico in the 50th minute, I believe, around there, right in the start of the second half. Gutierrez breaks through the La Liga player. Beautiful goal. Beautiful move to his left foot, coming across, shooting back, on goal, into the corner, and they take a lead. 70 minutes in, they lead 1-0. They were very much frustrating Van Persie and Robben, and the Dutch were having to play long ball, and Mexico was shutting it down. And then a very strange substitution, bringing in the very offensive mind Javier Hernandez, who I would bring in at the beginning of the game because of his ability to score goals. They bring him in the 70th minute. You go into the 87th minute, I believe. The Dutch finally wore them down. They replaced Van Persie with this young gentleman. I don't remember his name. But off a corner that I think was their 10th. The ball was headed out. Schneider, who has been quiet most of this series, big left foot. Mexico did not defend the goal posts on the corner kick. And I've brought this up in my previous shows. You always have a guy on each post for a corner. Everybody seems to ignore it, or they go with one. And again, that shot by Schneider, thank you, my analyst keeping me straight in the corner. By Schneider, brilliant kick. If you have a man on the post, he could have put his foot out and stopped it. Would he? Who knows? But as no one was there, it was right in the corner. Mexico ignored the header back. They did not come out to defend. The announcer, I'll give him credit. His line was, they did not pay attention to the details. And they didn't pay attention to the details at 1-1 when Robben came in on the side, took one of his famous dives, but there was enough contact, and the referees in this World Cup have called that. Called penalty kicks. And that was the difference. It's, going from in the 85th, 86th minute, from going through to the quarters to going home for, what did they say, the 16th year in a row that Mexico has gone through, or 6 or 7 straight times that Mexico has not advanced past the round of 16. And the Dutch move on. The next set of games, 2 fantastic games. I picked both correctly on who would win. France, Nigeria, Germany, Algeria. They were a lot tougher than I believe a lot of people expected. First, France, Nigeria. France is my team. I picked them. They're a dark horse, but I think they are coming together, even with the loss of Frank Ribéry, up and down the line. Goalkeeper, defenders, midfielders, strikers. They are playing as well as anybody. They've had some big play from Benzema at the front, putting in goals, and if it's not been him, it has been Valbuena. Gerrard did not have a good game against Nigeria, and then they bring in Griezmann. They have the substitutes at the front line, the midfielders, Matuidi, Pogba. They come in with Kabay. You also have, trying to remember, besides Kabay and Matuidi, who play that team in the middle. You have Sissoko. Again, solid midfielders. They move the ball very well. And the defensive line, I think they're playing as well as anybody. With Varane, Evra, again, I've talked about Debussy on the right. He's probably their weakest link. But again, as a unit, they play extremely well. And Hugo Lloris, one of the, if not the best keeper in the world, barring Tim Howard's performance against Belgium. He's very solid. I think he's given up a couple goals, but overall, nothing. France has not really been tested on a lot of goals. Nigeria did test them. Nigeria, very athletic team, as I've been saying. When you play an athletic team with speed, that's going to be a problem for you. Nigeria had several opportunities. They weren't able to convert. Finally, France was. Pogba on the header from the corner. And then beautiful pass across from Valbuena. Griezmann ran at the goalie as you're supposed to, went in hard, and they got an own goal. But very tough game against the Nigerians. And Germany, Algeria, another very tough game. Overtime game, came down to a goal by the final, which turned out to be the winner, from Mesut Ozil with very good passing, where he hit the open man, that shot was stopped, and then he was smart, did not overrun the play, and when he took the shot, he buried it. He solid, head down, body over, technically a beautiful shot, didn't blow it over the crossbar as we've seen many players do, and he made sure of it. And I'm trying to remember the Chelsea striker that he was over at Chelsea this year. He scored the first goal on a beautiful cross. It took a while for Germany to finally break down Algeria. Algeria had several opportunities, and in fact, the guy who I make fun of, Neuer was the difference. He, to me, was the man of the match. And I'd say this in two things to look for the next game. Germany's defense is four of the most individualistic players you will ever see, and therefore, as a defensive unit, are terrible. Together, they are terrible. And I know they had one substitute out there in Mustafa, but the middle between the man I call Lurch and Boateng, and with Lamb not playing back there, with Germany moving Lamb up to midfield, I think is a mistake, because you lose that defensive toughness. He kept that defensive line, even though he would play a wing. He was the anchor. Without it, Germany gives up opportunities. And Neuer had to play like a crazy man, playing the term that is all the rage with them is the sweeper keeper, which means he basically has to run out and do crazy things. Against a team like Algeria, he got away with it. Against teams like France, Argentina, possibly the Dutch, he won't be able to get away with that. They will burn him if he does that.
Well, hopefully humble.
And We will have our surprise analyst coming in, who came in. We'll talk about that and her view of the game as we introduce her. Okay, well, we may get her into this soon enough. Okay, and Germany, Algeria again, very fun team. They were 4 years ago. Again, I have to pull myself out as they played the United States, totally frustrating them. Dempsey's goal called back, but they frustrated the U.S. They frustrated England. This team was different. They had firepower. They had boys who could put the ball in the net. That made them dangerous. And if it hadn't been for Neuer being a very aggressive keeper, very mentally into the game, I don't think Germany would have won. He made some huge plays, kept them in the game, and finally Germany broke them down. At 2-0 when everybody wrote off Algeria, Algeria got a late goal to make it real interesting. But again, there wasn't much time left. The game was pretty much over by then. So Germany outlasted Algeria. Okay. Again, I picked France and Germany. I knew it was going to be tough against Nigeria. I wasn't sure against Algeria, but those games extremely tough. I'm not sure who thought they would be that tough a series. Argentina, Switzerland. I picked Switzerland because Argentina has a very weak defense. What I didn't really consider was Switzerland has just as weak an offense. They have one player, Zarquay, who's the Switzerland. Shaqiri. Apologize. He's it. I thought they had a little better midfield to forward connection. They really didn't threaten. It was pretty much Di Maria, Messi, opportunities blown throughout the game until they finally scored very late with Di Maria's shot off Messi getting into the open field. I was surprised Messi freed up and had as many open field runs as he did. He hit some nice passes. Unfortunately, Argentina wasn't able to bury it. And the Swiss were not able to challenge the defense of Argentina or the hands of their goalie. So Argentina wins a very close one. I picked Switzerland. I gave more credit to the Swiss offense than they deserved. And of course, Belgium, United States, Tim Howard, a record. I don't want to repeat. Everybody's heard it. Howard kept them in the game. Howard gave them a chance to win in the 90th minute when Woblahowski sent the ball over the crossbar. If you look at it, except for the last 10 minutes, the United States had trouble generating any offense. I believe they had 4 shots. One was off a decent bit of teamwork between Dempsey and Bradley, but as you looked at it, even though Courtois made a diving save, I think that was more dramatic than tactical. He could have easily stepped over and caught it. The U.S. just didn't threaten, and they spent the entire game defending. First period was a little closer, but they were second best. The second half, it was just hanging on. And save after save Howard made. DeMarcus Beasley, very impressive, moving back from a forward to a defender. Had a big save on a cross towards Fellaini. Gomez again had a big game in the middle, but yes, they were unfortunate. Josie Altidore was to be available. Obviously, he wasn't well enough to play. They did not play him. Fabian Johnson, who right defender, big, quick man, big left foot, pulls a hamstring early on. Come in with the 19-year-old Yetland. Incredible job, but he's got to learn a few new moves on offense. Very aggressive, but on the defensive side, Van Brunner, Origi, Hazard, Van Buten, it was just a field day of shots through 90 minutes, and eventually the pressure broke down. And you come in with Lukaku, who had fresh legs. The play where he talks about his aggressive rundown, nobody talks about that Cameron, I believe, or it was him or Besler, I think it was Cameron, just bounced off Lukaku when they were both going for the ball, which when Cameron went down, Lukaku just had a free run up the right side. It was going to happen with the way they played. The U.S., to a certain extent, was lucky it wasn't 8-0. But Tim Howard, probably the best job I've ever seen a keeper have, kept us in. Just wasn't to be. Van Brunner scored the first goal. Lukaku got the second goal off of Van Brunner assist. Now, to the extent that was probably one of the most exciting 11 minutes in football, when Bradley finally saw Green make a run. It wasn't the greatest kick by Green. He kind of miskicked it, but the important thing is it went in. It changed the game. An attempt by Jermaine Jones went wide. Beautiful set play. Bradley to Jones, I believe, to Dempsey. Courtois made a brilliant stop, and nobody was there for the rebound. It was cleared away. But again, it would have been a fluke. Belgium, the superior technical team, I'm pretty sure that they were wondering what was going on with Howard, the way he kept them in the game. So I said USA, but I always said head and heart. That was the heart talking. But Belgium, obviously, the better team. So that was a review. We have 2 quarterfinal games tomorrow. Again, I was checking to see if my star analyst was going to come over. No, we're not going to have her tonight. Maybe tomorrow. We have Brazil, Colombia as 1 quarterfinal match. Any prediction, Miss Wanda?
Hard to tell. Colombia's fast. And Neymar. But I kind of think it's the team that has more than one striker that's going to make it through.
Okay. I think she's shortened to the point. We will get her on camera. Very much agree. Brazil, what I cannot tell is this a team who is just underperformed? Or is this a team who has just been lucky? They were given a gift on a penalty to beat Croatia. They were given a gift by Mexico playing like complete morons, shooting the ball over the net 10 times. 1 shot on goal for a 0-0 draw. And then they played a Cameroon team who, again, I think the action of Alex Song tomahawking Medzukovic from Croatia basically told you how frustrating a team they were. I think Neymar has been the key to them offensively. He has been the quarterback. He has been the goal scorer. I think midfield, Ramirez, he's a thug, but they need somebody to do that. I believe Mustafa is the other gentleman. He's okay. Oscar has done little. Fred, Hulk, nothing. Nothing. They do not impact. I believe Fred has gotten 1 goal in that was created for him. And that defensive line is being held together by spit and chewing gum.
I don't agree. You got Marcello and David Luiz.
We have the first disagreement of this show. Again, the ghost to the side we have. Thiago Silva has held the line together. David Luiz has nice hair. Marcello will break somebody's leg and will get red carded. And Dirty Danny Alves usually gets a yellow for good measure. I don't know how they will compete against the Colombian team. Okay? And to this day, I don't know how good a goalie in international play Cesar is. I didn't see the game against Chile. I don't know if he has been tested. So, I'm going to say Colombia because I believe they're playing well. And I think Brazil, it's not been a matter of them not playing well. I don't think they're that good. And they have ridden the shoulders of Mr. Neymar. Okay? But I believe Colombia just knows how to play him to slow him down. Next game tomorrow, I believe, is Germany-France. On paper, everybody will say Germany. Two things. One, I was going to say France no matter what. You now have a rumor of 7 German players with the flu or sore throats. I have to put that to the side. I think in a quarterfinal game, everybody shows you do whatever, you take whatever antihistamines to get you out on the field. And it's up to the coach to field the best team. I believe Germany's defense will be their downfall. I think France, with their quick forwards, I believe Matuidi, as he plays a very undisciplined game in the midfield. Cabai might miss this match because of a yellow card. But Matuidi is one of those guys I think in this game will be the difference. Because he seems to be the one who always ends up in the right place, whether by accident or by design, and buries the ball. And I don't think you can rely against Algeria. They got away with it. I think against a team as the French are playing, they won't. And I don't think Neuer can give up goals. We saw Real Madrid light him up like a Christmas tree in the home game in Germany, Bayern Munich. He can give up goals if you attack him properly. And I believe the French have that type of attacking style. And they have, again, not just their starting lineup, they have people on the bench. You have Sagna who can come in on the defense if Debuchy isn't up to par. You have Varane as a defender who can come up and press on offense. You have Sissoko. You have Pogba, who is playing very well. You have Gerrard, who can put the ball in the net. He's a big, tall, tough striker. I've said his name several times. He is the small winger. He also plays midfield with Marseille. Valbuena, thank you. He has had a great tournament. He may be the difference in this game. Okay? And as long as that defensive line is there for Germany, no matter how much power you have up front with Müller and Ozil and Schweinsteiger or Khedira, as they seem to be substituting them in for each other. Lamb playing a midfield position. There's a lot of firepower, but unless you can stop the other team, it's going to be tough to get the ball forward. So, I'm going with France to beat Germany for the next quarterfinal match. And that will be all for tonight. Tomorrow I hope to have my all-star analyst join us. And happy World Cup. And hopefully it'll be 2 good matches tomorrow.